Hey gamer pals, have you ever been watching a movie or a film and noticed someone try and play the video game? Yeah, that's right. So many of you right now are smiling and clapping and jumping on the spot in approval because you know exactly what I'm talking about. Instead of playing a game like a normal human being like this, the person in the film or TV plays the game like this.
Use your phasers!
I can't, I'm in hyperspace!
Then launch photon torpedoes!
You're crazy!
Hollywood gaming. That's right, that's a term that I have just coined right now. Take it to the bank, cash it in, go into debt, because that term has little to no monetary value. I'm sure you've all witnessed this before. You're having a good time watching Charlie's Angels. Drew Barrymore is naked because Drew Barrymore is naked. You're having a great time, but then suddenly you're met with a horrifying sight. Two kids playing Final Fantasy VIII on a Sony PlayStation. Take a look at the back of the box for this French copy of Final Fantasy VIII, because that's the only image that had a high enough resolution to help me make the point that I'm trying to make. Ignore the fact that it's probably French. If it's not French, sorry for being racist. But what's that down in the bottom corner? What does that say? One player. You notice the problem here? And no, it's not the fact that Drew Barrymore is covering her nakedness with a floaty ring tube thing. These two kids are playing a single player game like it's a multiplayer game. You could make the argument that one of them is the younger brother and the older brother's given like the younger brother the second controller, so he thinks he's joining in, but really he's just smashing on the controller. But something gives me the idea that these two are not related by blood, at least. My older brothers used to do that to me, actually. He'd be playing Mario Kart and then he'd give me the second controller and I thought that I was all the other races in the Grand Prix mode. Oh, they'd laugh and laugh. They thought it was a great joke. Yeah? Well, who's laughing now? People not knowing how to represent gaming in movies and TV, or Hollywood gaming, has been an issue ever since I created video games in the 70s. And you have to ask the question, why? Why does Dr. Gregory House from the aptly named medical drama House respond with
Level 4.
when his kind of romantic interest, Dr. Cuddy, asks what he's doing? He's clearly playing Metroid Zero Mission on that Game Boy Advance SP, and that game doesn't have levels. What is this? The wartime movie Jarhead starring Jake Gyllenhaal, where one of the dickheads is like,
playing Metroid, trying to get to that 9th level.
You know what happens when you get there? Nothing. Just start all over again.
like, why would you do that? Why would you reference like a real game and then lie about it? What's the value in that? Why is that Melvin-looking kid in Beethoven screaming,
That leaf's mine!
and then his sister's like,
I get the next one!
this is Mario 3 on the NES. It's not co-op Mario. Could you imagine a co-op Mario? That'd be fucking awful. Nintendo has more brains than to do something like that. Is that kid using a fucking power glove? Why is Jesse Pinkman coping with the emotional trauma of shooting someone by using a light gun on a developer walkthrough of Rage? That game doesn't have light gun support. What they should have done is they should have put an actual game that has light gun support in there. It would have been true to the gamers and it would have made the scene so much more powerful. Because Hollywood doesn't understand video games. They just don't. Hollywood, look at me talking about Hollywood like I'm some sort of conspiracy theorist. Hollywood is always about 20 years behind the 8 ball in terms of things that people want to see. If Hollywood was current and sort of was aware of what people would have enjoyed seeing, we would have had the MCU in the late 90s. And Iron Man would have been played by some popular 90s actor, someone like Robert Downey Jr. Hollywood just doesn't understand video games. Despite them being the biggest form of media in the world based on total number of misogynists per Twitter post. And the assumption is that no one's gonna care if the game looks like Twisted Metal but then sounds like Pac-Man, which is why we get lines like,
They leveled up.
from serious crime drama shows. They leveled up. Oh, Law and Order. But the problem is, if you're an epic gamer, God, I should have a sick controller. If you're an epic gamer like myself, seeing an instance of Hollywood gaming immediately pulls you out of the scene because you're like, hang on a fucking second. Carla, you do not know how to hold a controller. You've never played a video game before in your life. Carla from Scrubs. And at that point, our immersion is ruined and we get mad, and then we have to make a Facebook status about it or a Twitter post. On the 31st of May 2010, I made a Facebook status about the TV show Brothers and Sisters because they did the exact same bullshit. Like, you're taking the piss, mate. A wireless Nintendo 64 controller. Even Big Bang Theory is guilty of this sin. And that show is supposed to cater to nerds and mothers of nerds who love the show because, oh, my boy is just like those weird people on the telly. Oh, I love it. My mum has actually said that. She watched an episode and she goes, oh, it's so funny. You're just like that, Sheldon. Get fucked, he's the worst. In one episode, he talks about getting his old Nintendo 64 and Mario 64. And then he says this line.
Look, Mom included the memory card. We can pick up right where I left off in 1999 when I had pernicious anemia.
Don't know why the audience was laughing there. No jokes were told. Unless they were laughing at the fact that you can't save Mario 64 to a memory card. I looked it up, and while the results were somewhat hazy, I'm fairly certain that you can't save the game to the memory card, it saves to the cartridge. Later on, he's sitting in a stairwell, playing an emulated version of Mario 64 on his Lappy 486, and he's using keyboard controls. Have you ever tried to play a 3D platformer using keyboard controls? I have. And it makes me want to die. This guy's supposed to be a fucking rich nerd. You think he doesn't have an Xbox 360 controller laying around that he can just plug into his laptop? You know, for a show that's supposed to cater to the geek demographic, they sure bungled that one. They can have scientifically accurate equations on the whiteboard, but they can't fact check whether or not Mario 64 uses a memory card. I hope someone got fired for that disaster. Where's cancel culture when you need it? For the things that matter. This is the Starbucks coffee cup all over again. Remember that thing? And another thing, Daenerys Targaryen doesn't play Super Mario World properly. So we know that Hollywood just doesn't understand Nintendos and TV games. And over the course of writing this, yes, I do actually write these videos. I'm just that good at making it seem natural. Over the course of writing this video, I began to wonder, why do the actors get told to act in that weird manner? Why are the actors chimping out on the controller when they're playing games? Why are they being directed to play games like that? Like, sure, you can make the argument that someone playing a game like this isn't as visually engaging as this.
What?
But I think there's more to it. Video game ads. Have you ever watched a video game ad, like actually watched it? Look at this ad for a wireless Nintendo Entertainment System controller.
In the battle for Iron Sword, seconds count. So you need a controller with a look and feel you already know. Accurate up to 30 feet. The official wireless remote controller, licensed by Nintendo, created by Acclaim. Get the remote, the power to move.
Video game commercials, dude. You have to sell a game and make it appear like it's more exciting than it really is. You can't sell a video game with... Instead, you have to sell the game by making it look like the kid is having just the greatest time in his life. So he's doing backflips and smashing on the controller and shit. So if you have no experience with video games, how are you going to direct someone to play video games? You'll base it on how the video game companies have advertised themselves. And that's by completely chimping out on a controller. This is especially prevalent in The Wizard. That's a movie-length advertisement for Nintendo. That movie is based on and designed around selling Nintendo merch. And it is full of Hollywood gaming tropes.
I got the scroll weapon, and I almost beat Mecha Turtle at the end of level 3.
And when video game companies are showing us that that's how games are played on the big screen, can we really blame any other individual or company for showing games in that way? Hollywood is slowly becoming more and more aware of the media juggernaut that is video games. And over time, as we get more gamers in the director's chair, we're gonna start seeing more accurate representation of video games. It's slowly happening, it just takes time. Until then, anytime I see someone slapping a controller like it's covered in bubble wrap, I'm just gonna laugh. Because it's video games. Who gives a shit? Now that I've said my piece, I'm gonna go watch the hit Adam Sandler 2015 comedy film Pixels about 80s arcade games coming and bothering the earth or something like that. It's gonna be a good time. I've got some feelings, okay? That's not how, I've got issues and feelings, okay? I'm really upset.
You think that's funny, do you?